well, welcome to a different. It's a different time. A different time. I don't even know where I was going with that. I really don't. What the fuck? Yeah. So I'm doing this as like a split show because I was going to do a longer show right now, but then we have an issue with plumbing at our house, and we found a plumber that is going to try to be there around 3:30. So I'd like to be there, so he doesn't, price gouge and all that when my wife is there. So our shower, I guess there's these things called cartridges in the shower knobs, and they may have gone bad because it's just leaking water. And we pay for our water, because we own our house. So we got to get that fixed because it's probably cost us a shit ton of money already because I didn't realize it was as bad as it is. Anyway, we're going to talk about some stories and some stuff over the course of the day, both this show, and then I'm going to come back live at 8 o'clock, and we'll regurgitate a little bit, but that'll be another show. So if you would like a chance to win one of 2 TVs we're giving away today, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, you'll see them right there. Just rate what platform you watch. You could send as many as you want as long as they're $5 or more. And then you'll be entered into a chance to win one of 2 TVs we're giving away. Let's see. I think I'll do 2 32-inch televisions unless we do over $1,000, and then I'll do 132 and 165-inch television. And that's what we'll do tonight, which is good because we've been working. My life is, for the past 2 days, has been interesting, to say the least. My son had surgery yesterday, and I've told you guys about, that. The one thing that really caught me off guard is many people know just my life in general. I've had some scary moments involving hospitals. My first son's birth was scary as shit, and I thought my best friend, my wife, or my son, or both were going to perish in that emergency, everything. So that scared me. Plus my time as an EMT fucked my head up pretty bad. And so yeah, yesterday, I don't know what it was. I had trouble sleeping. And granted, I've kind of known because I've had trouble sleeping for a week. So I kind of knew it was going to be bad. I had like a full on, I don't know what you would call prolonged panic attack yesterday morning, and I could talk about vulnerabilities. See, because that's what real people do. Yeah, I did for several hours, including when I was sitting there waiting for him. I couldn't even talk to the doctors or nurses when I was waiting for him. But you know what? He had his minor surgery and he was perfectly fine. And all my fears and every possible bad scenario that I thought of was gone the second I saw him. But it caused some conflict with my wife because I kind of snapped at her in the morning, and she knew what was going on because she saw it when I first quit the fire department. She saw that same thing, that same attitude, except then it was prolonged. So she kind of knew. So she tried to keep her distance, but yeah, I fucking freaked out pretty hardcore yesterday. But what's that say? It just means I'm a good parent, right? Whatever. So, but yeah, he had his dental surgery, and by the time the medication wore off him, by like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, the kid was fine. He was like, I want McDonald's, and he's eating McDonald's last night, even though he's got all sorts of new stuff on his mouth. But yeah, it was definitely weird. It was a definitely weird scenario. And, it tells you that when you think you get over stuff, you don't. It stays there. It's like a catalog that just waits for your brain to flip over to that page and just fuck up your week. Like that's essentially what happened. But whatever, I'm back to normal. My wife is like, you need to go see someone. I'm like, no, I don't. It's gone. I was just really, I was freaking out. I mean, there's no other defining word. I thought something tragic was going to happen to my son. You know what I mean? And it's probably because I did CPR for 17 minutes on a little girl that looked just like him that died. So that's why I freak out all the time, especially about him. Like I baby the fuck out of that kid. But it is what it is. So yeah. So that's why yesterday, like even last night, I watched the show when I was at the office. I was still kind of discombobulated. I wasn't really talking cohesively. But I left that video up so you guys could see some of the stuff that we did at the office. or at the store. We ripped up the whole floor. I didn't. The contractors did. They ripped up the floor, ran new water lines and sewer lines in there. So next week, I got the sink. It was just delivered today. I just got to get one more countertop, and then they're going to bring in some cabinets, install all that stuff, and bada boom, bada bam. Then we're just at the mercy. Oh well, and a mop sink, and then we're at the mercy of the health department. So there's been a lot of stuff that's transpired over the past couple of weeks. You know what I mean? With the midterms, and then Tuesday, obviously, we did a really long election night live stream, which was great. But we didn't really, nothing, like where we left on election night when I ended it, actually Wednesday morning when I ended the live stream, to now, not a lot has changed. You know, Nevada's still not done. Pennsylvania, that changed. They gave that to Dr. Fetterman. They gave that to Fetterman, and not really surprising. And it's just, the whole thing is just disgusting. It's just disgusting, you know, because we have a brain dead guy in the White House, and we have a brain dead senator from Pennsylvania, and that's apparently who the voters voted for. You know what I mean? That's what they say. So it's absolutely crazy. Arizona's still up. There's all sorts of weird shit going on in Arizona. And I'm not saying it has anything to do with election F. We're not saying that. But the fact that they still haven't counted the fucking votes is something that's very concerning. And it should be concerning to every single person. And they're using the argument, well, they weren't allowed to, and maybe this is true, in Arizona, you can't start counting the mail-in ballots, I guess, until after 7 o'clock on election day. And maybe that's what the problem is. And now they're trying to go through the tabulation error stuff that happened on election day itself. But they're doing batches of like 2,500, you know, and they're deliberately keeping press out. There's videos on Twitter of them, you know, keeping citizen journalists, or even not, you know, Ben Berkwam with Real America's Voice. He was, you know, essentially manhandled by police officers and escorted off of the property until he gets a press pass. All sorts of weird stuff's going on there. And there's all these little different cases of weird stuff. Let's just call it all weird stuff that's transpiring across the place. And then obviously social media. Well, I guess the next thing I have to segue to is what's going on with Donald Trump and some of the statements he's making, which they piss me off. I'll be completely honest, and I may lose a couple of people here. They piss me off. The shit, his attacks on DeSantis, his attack today on Youngkin, those are just stupid. They're stupid because you're attacking people that you can't attack. DeSantis never said anything, and I know what he's doing. And Tim Pool made a video yesterday or last night during his live stream. He talked about maybe the reason why Trump is attacking DeSantis and attacking Youngkin is to get the media to come to their defense, because they hate the hatred for Donald Trump is so crazy. You know what I mean? And I've said that before. Tim Pool said that yesterday on his show. I don't think so. I think right now Donald Trump is trying to turn this MAGA party, the people that would vote for DeSantis, trying to turn them and say, well, you know, they're destroying MAGA or whatever the hell he said, which to me is just very concerning. He made a very long statement about Ron DeSantis yesterday. And basically the only complaint in there, like he talked very briefly about locking down the state, saying that was something he didn't. You got to understand, no matter what, everyone seems to forget that Donald Trump was the one who made these vaccines. He's the one that at first was locking down every place, not him, but the CDC under his administration. He wasn't coming out condemning what they were doing. And so all these states were following it. Then you had Democrat states that kept the lockdowns longer. I didn't hear Donald Trump coming out in week 3 of COVID telling people to unlock and let people go back to normal. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And so for Donald Trump to criticize anybody about COVID at all is just, it's hypocritical as fuck, right? But we kind of have to expect it. We have to expect that Donald Trump is going to go out and try to, you know, I wouldn't call it leveling up, trying to be like at the top, because let's be honest, his Dr. Oz endorsement fucking sucked. His Herschel Walker, now that's in a runoff. Herschel's probably going to win in a runoff, hopefully, unless there's some new weird dump of information that comes out of Georgia. And then, and some Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania losing to Shapiro. Insane. And then I started looking the day after. I think it was Wednesday. I did a live stream. I started looking into like how much money Trump or the Save America Foundation or whatever the hell you want to call it, PAC, was putting out to help these candidates. And I was frankly surprised to see that the Save America PAC has any money left whatsoever, because they're raising on the backs of these. They're raising at all these events. They're raising with the Save America rallies. And to me, that wasn't just meant for Donald Trump. That was meant to boost up these candidates. Doug Mastriano was essentially missing the last 3 weeks of his campaign. He had no money to compete. Shapiro spent over $25 million on ad spend in the month of October. Doug Mastriano spent less than $2 million because he was out of money. He had no money to do anything with. And it's kind of crazy. When you think about that, like, that pissed me off. And so I'm like, wait, why didn't they just, like, why wasn't, a huge amount of money spent on Mastriano? And the fact is they just didn't want him. They didn't want him. And you got to remember, the Democrats put money towards these people. They put money towards Mastriano in the primaries. They put money towards Dr. Oz. They did that because they knew that what did they know? That Donald Trump was going to turn his back on him? That's and people could say, well, Donald Trump did give money. He didn't give enough. He's got $97 million in part of his political PAC. And yes, he is transferring some of that money over to MAGA Inc., the new political action committee that he set up, which is likely for his campaign. Even Kayleigh McEnany went on Fox News and said that Donald Trump should not announce anytime soon, that he just needs to wait. Even for his former White House press secretary, as amazing as she is, for her to go out and say that. And I see, I play on Twitter a lot, right? And so I've seen all of these conservatives or political pundits or whatever you want to call it, a lot of them that were on the right, that were on MAGA, the MAGA thing, were on Donald Trump's butthole. You know what I mean? They're like, wait, whoa, what's going on? Like these are underhanded attacks. And maybe just like Tim Pool said, he's playing a 12D chess or 4D or whatever the fuck he says, fourth dimension. Like where he's planning his moves like 12 moves ahead, and that's why he's attacking DeSantis, because then the media is going to come in and essentially apologize for DeSantis because their hatred for Trump. And I've said that before. I've literally said that same thing months ago. Because my firm belief is that Donald Trump should not announce that he's running for president. He shouldn't. I still think on November 14th he should announce that he's giving his nod to DeSantis or someone else. I don't think that's happening with his statements against him. And he even went after Youngkin. He's like, Youngkin, like making it like, what was that tweet? I don't even remember what that tweet was. Let me go and open that, because that one really pissed me off this morning too. I don't know if I still even have that open. Hold on. The True Social screen grab. I restarted this computer. Watch, let me go over to my profile from this morning. So yeah, this morning he said, Youngkin, now that's an interesting take, sounds Chinese, doesn't it? In Virginia, wouldn't have won without me. I endorsed him, did a very big Trump rally for him telephonically, got MAGA to vote for him, or he couldn't even have come close to winning. But he knows that and admits it. Besides, having a hard time with Dems in Virginia, but he'll get it done. What the fuck kind of comment is that? First, you want to say that his name, Youngkin, sounds Chinese, and by separating, going Youngkin, which, I mean, it kind of does, let's be honest. Like, if you separate them and like take away, and just make it like Y-O-U. No, it doesn't. It's Youngkin, whatever. But whatever. You could go. But to say it's, and he says, now that's an interesting take. Sounds Chinese, doesn't it? Like, how much drugs do you think Donald Trump is on every day? Like literally, do you think he's on drugs? I think he must be with some of these tweets. Like, this one's stupid. This is just stupid. And maybe that was the purpose of this tweet. This tweet was just to be like, see, I don't just go after DeSantimonious, like he said. Maybe now he's going to go after Youngkin. Like, it doesn't even work. You can't even say it, But and he said, I endorsed him, did a very big Trump rally for him telephonically. It wasn't a very big rally telephonically. And to be honest, remember, Youngkin is the one that refused to, or his campaign, not him. They refused to allow me to go into one of their rallies and cover it until I was leaving. And then they frantically tried to call me and say, hey, come in, come in. I was like, fuck that. I'm already on the road. Fuck you guys. Because I was pissed, right? Because they treated me like a leftist journalist. And then they realized I wasn't. And we're like, what the fuck? But he, Youngkin didn't want a Trump endorsement. He didn't want all that and I believe, and someone could fact check me on this, but I believe the rally that Donald Trump called into, Youngkin wasn't even there. That was not an official Youngkin rally from what I believe, from what I remember. I don't even believe that was an official Youngkin rally. Youngkin was trying to get the MAGA crowd, which I don't want to even call them MAGAs anymore. I want to call them just Americans. He was trying to get the Americans to vote for him, the same ones that voted for Trump, but not have all of that baggage that comes with being a Trump endorsed candidate. Because we've seen it. Look at what they do. Election denier. That's CNN. That's literally how they're prefacing almost every single GOP candidate. Fellow election denier, Trump endorsed, Trump denies the election, so this person must. That's just what they continuously have done. But for him to go and do this kind of rhetoric, it's bad. And a lot of people could say, like, listen, he's just playing ahead. He's getting the media to talk about these political candidates. Why would he do the Ron DeSantis one? Because his arguments about DeSantis was essentially saying he's not ready to be president. A lot of people feel the same way about Donald Trump. They felt the same way about Donald Trump. If you feel that way now, then you're kind of stupid. But a lot of people felt that way going into him becoming president. And when he was initially campaigning in 2015 and 16, a lot of people felt that way. They felt like he didn't know about politics. He didn't know about government. He wasn't going to be able to do it. And then when you actually look at what he was able to do in office, then you understand that that is just bullshit. But to say that DeSantis, like, what is the negative shit on, I should find this DeSantis one again, just to read this again to some of you guys. Because if you didn't see it, and I think I tweeted that out too, didn't I? I don't know. Oh God. Yeah, he talks about his early election. Oh man, I'm not gonna find him really easy, of course, because like everything else. Yeah, so some of the statements in the previous GOP. See, I don't know if this is it. No, I don't. This isn't it. But I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah, so here it is. Nope, this isn't it either. There's too many because it's been a couple of days. So long story short, he just posts all this. Oh, here it is. Now that the midterms are over and his success, News Corp, which is Fox, the Wall Street Journal, and the no longer great New York Post bring back coal, is all in for Governor Ron DeSanctimonious, an average Republican governor. He is not a fucking average Republican governor. Like, that is the first falsehood in this whole statement. Ron DeSantis is nothing like a traditional average Republican governor because he actually gives a fuck about his state. The majority of the Republican governors out there are not working in the best interest of their states. You know that just as well as I do. I don't know if this is a plumber. I got to take it. Sorry. Hello. Hello. Okay. It's not the plumber. Sorry. Gotta do that. Multitasking here. Anyway, he said an average Republican governor with great public relations who didn't have to close up his state, but did, unlike other Republican governors. What the fuck is he talking about there? He didn't have to close up the state. People were dying. Old people were dying. And granted, it's because Democrat governors were moving sick COVID patients into nursing homes and, causing that to happen. New York or Florida was... look at the negative publicity that Florida received for opening up. Do you know what I mean? What time is it? I'll be there by 3:30. or my wife. No, she won't. Fuck. Shit. All right. I only got like 15 minutes. And then I'll do another show tonight too. And again, as a reminder, if you want to win a TV tonight, we're giving away 2 TVs, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. Write what platform you watch. And if you're watching this on replay before I do the show tonight, you should be good. And you'll be able to win a TV. Who else does that? Nobody. Anyway, he said, but unlike other Republican governors whose overall numbers for a Republican were just average, middle of the pack, including COVID, and who has the advantage of sunshine. Like, I don't even want to read this. Fucking is stupid. Okay. It was a lame, underhanded attempt to take the win from Ron DeSantis' sails, because Ron DeSantis flipped Tampa. He flipped Miami, and it was purely because of his leadership. Donald Trump, in my humble opinion, is not on the, would I go as far to say he's not like in the lead of the Republican Party as he was leading up to the election? Possibly. I especially with the Dr. Oz, I never understood that fucking endorsement. I never understood the Dr. Oz endorsement. The guy is not a conservative. For the life of me, I never understood it. And how many times have you guys heard me say that? The guy is not a conservative. There were better people in that race. I personally like Kathy Barnett, but there were a lot of other people that would have been better suited for that, except Donald Trump endorsed Dr. Oz. And my feeling is Donald Trump had someone in his ear that said, listen, Dr. Oz is going to win because he's a celebrity. He has Democrats that know him from his liberal shows, and he's going to win. And Donald Trump, in my humble opinion, decided to say, fuck the policies that he's pushed, the America First agenda, and he wanted that W. He wanted the win there, and so he endorsed him. That is my opinion, and a lot of people may disagree with that, but that's my opinion on why he endorsed Dr. Oz. But now you see him attacking Republicans. He attacked Ron DeSantis. He's attacking Youngkin. He's attacking others, and likely he will. And maybe, just like Tim Pool says, maybe this is some part of some masterful plan, to force the media to talk highly of these people, although I don't think it is. I think this is just Donald Trump is sitting in Mar-a-Lago pissed off that we didn't have a red tsunami, that didn't happen. And yeah, sure, we have control of the House. But here's the thing is everyone's like, oh, well, and we may have control of the House, possibly even the Senate, but likely not the Senate. But it will have a tie, if that. But here's the thing. Everyone's like applauding that. Like, oh, we're going to be able to stop all this crazy climate shit and curb inflation and open up drilling. The fuck you can. You can't do shit because the House will vote to pass something because we have majority. It'll then go to the Senate. Nothing's going to get done in the Senate because it's going to be a 50-50 liberal morons, or Republican rhinos don't push anything through, or liberal morons don't push anything through. And then if it does sneak through, then you got the moron in chief there that's just going to veto everything and send it back. You're not going to be able to have a veto-proof bill, I believe, go. So what do we have? So here's the truth. The House being locked up, even with the Republican majority, means that Biden may not be able to push through anything worse than where we already are as a country, with failing inflation, with stocks going low and all that stuff. That may stop, but we're not going to be able to correct anything that's already happened. Any of the bills that already happened, none of it's going to be able to be corrected because we're not going to have majority in the House, nor is shithead. He even said as much yesterday or today in a meeting or when he addressed the press. And he said he's not going to allow Republicans to walk back anything he did with climate or inflation or anything like that, because he understands that he has the veto power, and it's sad, because here's what I think. For the next 2 years, we're going to be sitting in this vicious circle of nothing being completed. And the only thing that's just going to get worse and worse is our economy. We're going to be fucked. We're going to be fucked. That's my opinion. Shelly, so far, Shelly, you have a 1-in-1 chance of winning a TV. Keep that in mind. Actually, you have a 2-in-1 chance at winning a TV. Just keep that in mind, because you're doing really good. Because you're the only one so far that sent a Cash App, a Venmo, or a PayPal with your platform where you watch. So if you watch on YouTube, you type YouTube in the comment, And so that way I could find you. But that's it. Someone said hating Trump will only make the Democrats stronger. Conservatives are being ridiculous right now, letting their feelings rule their decisions. No, what they're doing is nothing we do is going to make the Democrats stronger, because they're going to self-destruct. That's what they always do. And that's what they'll continue to do. Right now, you have essentially just like, but again, Tim Pool said this yesterday. Civil War began in 2016 when Donald Trump tried to take on the Republican establishment and won, right? And so now there's been all these battles, and you have the Adam Kinzigers and the Liz Cheneys and everybody that's trying to stop Donald Trump from ruling. Donald Trump has like, if you want to look at it from a far extreme, Donald Trump has realized, okay, there's a shit ton of power, and he wants to stay on top of that power. And that's, and I'm generalizing to be, outrageous here, but you know what I'm saying? That's where he is, or was. He was on top. He could like snap his fingers and the peasants would go vote for somebody purely based on his endorsement. Look at what he's saying. I called into a Youngkin thing and all my voters went, they cast their votes. He owes it to me. They owe it to me. They owe it to me. He said that about DeSantis, holding the two huge rallies for DeSantis to get him over the cusp of his 2017 election. He doesn't have that power now. He doesn't, because he had it's not a failed midterm, okay, but it wasn't as great as everybody thought, including him. We didn't have all these big victories that we thought we were going to have. We had a lot of small victories, but we didn't have all these big victories that people said, And so it's crazy. Someone said, look at what you're doing, Steve. We are now self-destructing. Don't fall for it. No, because see, here's the difference, okay? I have long said for months now that Donald Trump cares more about winning than anything else. I've been saying that for a long time. He cares more about winning ever since he makes the joke about having LeBron James dress up as a woman and go play basketball. That's when he said that, that's when I'm like, okay, the guy doesn't really care about the politics. He cares about winning. He cares about winning. And I've maintained that, and I'm not going to change that, nor am I not going to say something because people feel like it's pushing a divide. I never liked him tweeting as much as he did. I never liked any of that stuff. I voted for him, and I would vote for him again right now if I had to, because I believe that he does care a lot about this country. I believe that if you eliminate Twitter, you're forced, all the opposition would be forced to actually look at what he's accomplished while he was in the White House and what he could potentially accomplish if he was put into that position again. But I don't believe he's the best suited for that position to represent me and my values and my kids' interests and all that. And by people coming in here and saying, well, look, it's dividing us. It's supposed to, because that is being an American. An American is, that are the values that you're supposed to have. You're supposed to be able to have conversation with someone about something. And even if you disagree, even if you do agree, whatever, it's supposed to make you think. That's the whole reason I do the show. I don't do this show just to make money, or I don't do this show just to stay on the side of, oh, well, people are going to get mad at me if I say this. No, they don't. Or people do get mad at me. People get mad at me all the time. But what I firmly believe, someone said because of mean tweets, with saying that he shouldn't be on Twitter. No, it's not. It had nothing to do with the mean tweets. It had to do with that media focused on those mean tweets instead of focusing on what he did in the White House, which is why he was always that's why you always heard negative publicity from Donald Trump. That's why the majority of the people that hate Donald Trump can't even think of a single fucking policy that they disagree with. They can only say, well, he was racist. Oh, the losers and suckers. Oh, the rapists and murderers. All those same comments, which have all been debunked. They can't think of any policies. They can't think of any laws or legislation that he signed, executive orders or anything. They can't trigger those numbers. And why would you vote for someone that has that focus, that has that media laser focused on them, when we may or may not have a candidate that is better suited? Do you know what I mean? Could potentially be a cleaner representation of us in Washington, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a representation of us in Washington, not of political interest. That's how we got in this mess in the first place, because we have all of these political interests. Someone said, I love Trump as a president, though. Yeah, you did love Trump as a president. So did I. I like Trump as a person. I don't like the fact that, and the only thing I really don't like about him is the fact that he doesn't he doesn't think before he types out a tweet or types out a true social comment or types out an email that he sends to people. He doesn't think. He doesn't know that this shit and going after DeSantis and going after Youngkin and trying to turn the base against each other, that's not what this video is about. This video isn't about turning the base against each other. No, this video is about getting you to realize, okay, we have now, the power is with us in 2024 to put forth the best interest. If we are spending a year and a half debating on whether Donald Trump is fit to lead or DeSantis or Youngkin or any of the other people that are likely going to pop their heads in for a little bit, then we're not ready. You know, I wish DeSantis would come out and say he's going to run, which we're not going to hear for months, if he even wants to run. He's never once said that he's not going to run. He said his focus is on Florida right now, is what he said. He will not rule out a presidential. Carrie Lake ruled out any potential White House run if she does, become governor. Although I think she's trailing in the poll now because all these new dumps. Arlene said he's coming out against DeSantis. Yes, he's coming out against all the big front runners that he thinks people, all the same names that I've said. DeSantis, I said Youngkin would be a great president. I've said that too. And because he would. Because, he's a businessman that decided to enter politics because he wanted to change. DeSantis has been around for a long time in politics, from Congress and all that stuff, but he is a regular person. He just happens to be a lawyer and JAG lawyer and all that stuff, but he is a regular person. The stuff that he's saying is a representation of my thoughts. When he sits and yells at the media, that is literally what I'm thinking when I listen to the media ask all their stupid questions. Do you know what I mean? And that's my feeling on that. That's my feeling. But I have to stop this show and do another one. I'm going to talk about the Twitter, and because you guys may see I'm verified on Twitter, but not really. I'm just Twitter blue now. But I like it. It actually made me more confident. It also made a lot more people confident, including a certain stock tanking today. We're going to talk about that at 8 o'clock tonight, maybe 7, depending on what time I come back. But I got to go try to get the plumbing set up. If you are watching this video, you still can enter for a chance to win a TV. All you have to do is send Cash App, Venmo, or a PayPal. Write the platform you're watching. After tonight's show, we are going to be giving away a TV. Also, if you go to gratiscafe.com and use code VETERANS, you get 10% off your coffee order. In addition, I'm donating $1 for each bag that we've sold to Code for Vets. They're really big on Twitter, but they provide a ton of financial support to veterans that need it. And so I'm donating $1 a bag off of every sale that we make on gratiscafe.com for coffee. I have it all in stock. I spent all morning this morning packaging all the coffee. It's ready to go. If you order coffee today, I'll be in here tomorrow morning packaging it and dropping it off at the post office before 12 o'clock. So that way you get it out and you'll be drinking the best damn coffee you've ever had. Use code VETERANS, get 10% off your order. The one thing I did see is I dropped the prices and I added shipping back on there because last month was pretty rough doing the free shipping. So I couldn't do that. So the prices are back to the $14.99 plus you pay the shipping. And I'll see you guys around 7 or 8 tonight. It depends how long this plumbing is going to take in my house. Okay. So we'll see you then. Make sure you get your Cash Apps, Venmos, PayPals in for the TV. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye.